experiment. You're allowed one private app, and you're allowed an unlimited number of open source apps. So the kind of stuff we're doing I don't think is anything that is that proprietary. So I don't think I would doubt anyone would have an issue with creating it as open source. Again, App Store ready apps without the headache of maintaining native SDKs. If you're compiling mobile apps on your own machine, you have to have a lot of stuff installed. Whereas the promise of this, and again, I haven't played with it too much, is that you'll be able to compile without having all that stuff installed on your machine. Do I need to install anything before I use Phonegap build? Nope. What about developer accounts and SDKs? Do I need to set them up? Nope. But you might want to install some of the emulators if you want to do that. We'll just be doing this for Android, so we'll have the actual devices if you want to do that. This does use something called GitHub, which is a place where you can put a repository for your code. So as I was playing with this, I noticed as you were creating this, you had to have a GitHub repository as well. All right. So you have to have an Adobe ID and a GitHub ID as well. But those are all free accounts that you can sign up for.
Do we need the GitHub?
Yes. Because you put your code, that's a repository where you put your code. Then you point this to the repository so it can find your code. All right? So here's what I want you to do. Your first task, your task for this week, is to just lost my train of thought. Oh, investigate this. Find out what you need to do and create a page that serves as a tutorial so that I could give it to my class next semester, all right, and then know exactly what they need to do. Not that I will. That would take all the fun away from them, right? But the idea is I could give it to people learning this technology, and it would give them a nice overview of what Phonegap is. All right? So spend some time researching this, finding out about it, and create a page that would serve as a good introduction to using this. That's your first task. As you're doing that, I'm going to play with this a bit more, and my hope is that next week we'll be taking some of the things that we've written and using this to create some apps and then testing those apps out on our mobile device. All right. Questions?
I'm sorry. No, you go ahead. Before it showed how you can sign up for the freebie version, and there was the $10 version for more proprietary.
Right.
What sort of things are more exclusive, or I guess more that $10 one leans towards? I mean, I guess I'm trying to get a sense of what features or options that would employ
It looks to me that the only difference is with one, you can only have one private app. With the premium, with the free, you only get one private app. With the premium, you can have 25 private apps. By private apps, it means that the code is not available openly to anyone on the web. All right. So, for example, the assumption is that the code, if you use the free service, you're creating open source projects. All right. So, if you do something that's nifty, if you do a little tic-tac-toe game, if you developed one in HTML5 and then used Phonegap to build an Android version of it, your HTML source would be out there, and if anyone wanted to build upon it to make, I don't know, a fancier tic-tac-toe game, it would be available to them. Whereas, if you think of a professional environment, there you don't necessarily want to make their source code open source, in which case they'd want it to be protected and private, and therefore the $10 a month might be worth it to get the 25 applications. You can still have one private app. So, you can put your $1 million app out there as private so that no one can grab it and use it as open source. But for your assignments, it would be best to experiment with the free open source apps. Question?
Is it a long process when you get into it?
I don't know.
Yeah, not yet.
The promise is that it is not. That you upload your code to your GitHub repository, Freudian slip there, and then you tell it to compile. So that's something. Again, I have not played with this much. That's something I plan on doing over the next few days. Questions?
I guess I'm not quite sure what questions is. I'm always curious, I guess, right off the bat about examples of people who might have done it already, just so I can know how to formulate a question.
Well, the idea is to make an HTML5 app instead of web pages. And so, as far as examples go, just examples of HTML5 web pages. All right? And then those can be taken and made into an app.
So this would kind of be like in comparison to Vistaprints. Like you could use Vistaprints for a small amount of money, but it's not done professionally. And with this, you could get it done, but not professionally.
No, it's not. It doesn't seem to be a matter of professionally or not. It's just how many projects that you can store and make private. With this, you can make only one. With the free version, you can only make one private. With the premium version, you can make 25 apps private. All right. So if you were, as a student, that's probably fine because again, the assignments that we're doing aren't earth-shattering $1 million ideas. So yeah, you put them out there as open source applications. People can see your code, see it as an example. To answer your question too, look through GitHub. I'm sure that'll show you some ones because again, the idea is that these are going to be open source. But you can only have one private application that the rest of the world can't see. Where with the professional one, if you were developing apps, you would want to keep those codes proprietary, in which case, the professional one will allow you to have up to 25 of them. Other questions? All right, let's spend the rest of the day today doing some investigation on it, signing up for accounts, playing around with it, designing and creating your web pages, as well as wrapping up anything that you have left with the LC map project. I did post something, and I know those of us that were here Wednesday saw I actually had it where it was tracking me. So as I was walking around, the location updated itself, which was kind of nifty. I posted a couple hints on how to do that if you wanted to try. Again, it's not part of the requirements of the assignment, but it's something that you might want to consider doing if you have time and you want to experiment with.
Have you changed or updated your page since Wednesday? The reason I ask is that when Andrew and I were going up and down the hallway Wednesday, when I went home that same night, I was literally outside because I had switched my the family's iPad to cellular. And so I was literally outside in the farm fields going up and down the farm roads with the iPad. And the marker, even though I was in western Ridgeville, was showing me in Elyria.
How were you connected?
By a Verizon cell phone plan, so as opposed to Wi-Fi, because I was significantly away from the house.
You would want to look up to see what your location settings were. There's different location settings, I believe, for that. So probably something along those lines. But no, I haven't touched that. Are you kidding? It's Thanksgiving weekend. I'm not doing any work.
Oh, no, I was just, like I said, I haven't gone up and down the hallways in a real building. I was literally